With Zero to Hero almost on its way with Dragonheir Silent Gods, I have asked the one and only Scratch Gaming. He is easily the god of Dragonheir to come on here with his channel and all of his knowledge in today's episode. So I hope you enjoy this Dragonheir special collaboration with me, MrSneakyy, and Scratch Gaming. Welcome to today's video, and I have got the one and only Scratch Gaming on the channel. The one and major that I think is the Silent God champion, right? He knows everything to do with the game. He's played it from the start, like myself, in Call of Dragon. So who else to go to for advice, right? And the first thing I'm going to basically ask you, Scratch, straight away off the gate is, on that first week, right, I know I'm going to have to push heroes and stuff, but what are some tips and tricks in that first week that I really do need to take advantage of?
Yeah, bro, so the first week is going to be pretty interesting because you have that free reset that allows you to reset your heroes, right? So you need to prioritize in quickly building up your main team, right? So you look at the elemental affinities. If you're a brand new player, you're going to do your summons, right? You're going to see what you summon. There are some amazing rares, some amazing epics in the game, and once you kind of like see if the game pushes you towards ice, it pushes you towards fire, poison, etc., you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna go with this team initially. Then you can reset them, so it's not set in stone for the very first 6-7 days, you know. So you feel free to invest in characters. Just you're not gonna get back your scrolls, so maybe hold on onto scrolls, but you're gonna have to basically build a team that will allow to carry you further in the game. Like to do the goblin, that will be the main thing. Then if you have the goblin set, you know, then you can just farm goblin, level up a second team, and move into vortex and other things. Vortex is kind of like the equivalent of clan boss in Dragonheir, and I know most of the people will be really tempted to constantly build the best team for it. But I feel like in the very first 2 weeks, that's actually a mistake to prioritize that as your main priority. Yes, do it. I'm not saying not to do it because getting free gems is amazing. But the main priority should be to build that core team that will allow you to do Goblin. Then you add another hero to it or two more heroes, different ones. You swap them around. You can do this dungeon. You can do that dungeon. You can do Descent on Vortex. Then later on, you can just farm all that, improve your gear, improve your Goblin team, move over to build slowly a team that's dedicated mainly towards the vortex, you know. So that would be kind of like what I would advise you to do. Uh, don't necessarily hold onto your summons. Like right now, I'm not sure exactly when you're going to post this video, but at around the end of April, actually, I'm not sure exactly the date, if it's 30th of April or at the beginning of May when they're starting the anniversary event, we will be able to summon legendaries out of Starlight Dice, the purple ones, which don't give you legendaries just now. So keep that in mind as well. Maybe if you have a few, don't go all ham on them, but then at the same time, it's kind of like you want to go ham on them so to get some epics, you know, to get some heroes.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you mean, but it's probably one of those things where it's going to be maybe hard to balance it in that early phase where you do need to open maybe, say, like 10, 15, maybe 20 tops just to try and get a good roster of rares and put hopefully a couple of epics in there to get you going. So then when this new event does come out, as you say, in that May time, I'm going to be able to just maximize now on the rest of those healer dice. So I really do enjoy that. It's a really good tip as well for all the players that are looking for, you know, maximizing them summons. So let's go into the next question, which is probably one of the more interesting ones where most players, especially starting out, are probably wondering what to do. So the main thing that a lot of players know, and one advocate that you definitely did a video on yourself I've watched, is the level 10 hero chest. So a lot of players know when you are playing this game, you're going to go through, I believe it's called the Walker's Trials, right? So
Yeah, the battle pass. Yeah.
through this is your battle pass, and obviously you're going to get to level 10, which is really early on, but you get this rare hero option chest. And basically, I know there's going to be a ton of options, but I kind of want to say, you know, because there's so many options, name maybe 3 heroes that if I don't get them, right, in the summons, I can just quickly unlock this. Boom, I know I've got a good hero, right? Because I might unlock them, potentially, one of these 2 heroes that you suggest.
100%, man. So the absolute GOAT, the MVP of rares is Sigrid, right? So she's an amazing, amazing rare hero. Tons of damage, helpful in the goblin. And the main thing with Sigrid, guys, is that you already start with a few poison heroes from the very beginning, So adding her to the list is actually really, really helpful. She deals a lot of damage. You need a bit of a setup for her to have an AoE debuffer to put debuffs on the enemies. So her ultimate skill from single target becomes AoE. She's constantly going to recharge her ultimate energy when the enemies die under debuffs, allowing her to rotate faster than any other character in the game and deal tons of damage. Very important debuffs that you will need in dungeons. You're going to need a decreased attack pretty much everywhere in every piece of content. Heal reduction is going to be massive on the Grave of Rot. On the Heretical Ruins is going to be awesome against the Tempest Domain as well. So you're going to get quite a bit of value from a hero like Sigrid.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
mm.
I was gonna say I definitely agree with that Sigrid pick because I don't know how many videos now since she's been released is on there. So let's go into the second pick that you would suggest for a rare hero.
So here it really depends if you have any cleansers or not. I feel like not having a cleanser will really hold you back. So uh, we have a couple of options as rares. There is the most obvious choice, which of course is Ina, from the lightning element.
Yeah.
She's actually a pretty good cleanser, or Ena. I might call her Ina, but she's actually Ena, something like that. I'm never really pronouncing her name properly, but she actually doesn't do much. The main thing that she will bring is bring you a cleanse. Now, if you're trying to farm the fire domain to build your fire team, you're gonna struggle without a cleanser. You're gonna be in deep trouble. You're gonna need a cleanser for other areas of the game, and she's a decent option. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that she's the second best epic out of the game, but she can give you that extra push if you don't have her early on, if you have no other cleanser. If you do, then you can, of course, look at different heroes. Like we have Megan, for example, an amazing healer from the Necrosis element. She dispels defense down from your team. She's giving you healing. She's giving you ultimate energy with a battle skill. She's definitely a very, very solid a rare hero. Or we have Quarian, which is from the Radiance element, another solid healer, because he has a good healing and a very, very good cooldown on the ultimate skill. So you have quite a few options with the healers. If no, you can always go for more damage if that's why you're lacking. And you have Irina from the lightning element that's very, very solid as well. She brings decreased attack, she brings damage. You have different ones from the radiance element, like Walby, which can do a pretty good job as well with the radiance. Deal some decent damage in a rally team. Um, tons of options on the table there. It really depends if uh, you're lacking the damage or not. But the main pick should be Sigrid, and then kind of like see what you're lacking in the team and look to bring in the next thing to it.
Yeah, I love that because I think the one thing I think most players did with their maybe choice was to kind of just go for like maybe a DPS or like a tank. Where don't get me wrong, I think a tank could be a valid option too, but I think there's probably a really early game tank that you're gonna get, which is Horus, right?
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say
you're gonna use Horus majority of the time. So those players that use that tank and DPS pick definitely lost out. And I agree with you there that supports generally should be your go-to. It's so hard to replace a support hero and get a good support hero in the start, especially in the early game. So I really do like those picks. So
yeah.
let's go into, I want to say, the final area where I want to punch your knowledge, which is kind of like to do with artifacts, because I know there's a few artifacts in the game. I know you can go to the artifact store and pick some really early game ones, but the main thing I want to ask is like, what makes a good artifact generally? Like, what did you aim for in an artifact? Because I know certain players go for the DPS stuff, some people go for the accuracy stuff, and and it keeps going on. So basically, I just want to tickle your brain on all of that.
So in my opinion, a good artifact is basically decided if it has versatility or not. Can I use it in X, Y, Z, etc.? Is it gonna be viable for all the things that I'm planning to do? Like, will this really, really improve my team? And if you have your very first epic dupe, like no questions asked, the very first artifact you should pick is the Crown of the Unclean. That is the second artifact in the game, and the only things in the game that will allow you to put defense penalty on the enemies. Now, yes, this will not be AoE. It will be the smaller version for the epic artifact. The next version is the legendary one, which is a bit harder to get. You need to summon a legendary, a dupe. So that would be the first pick. But then you are looking at damage ones as well. And we have the book, for example, which is a good healing one for Hexandra early on. Yes, I would suggest you to pick most of the rare artifacts because you will end up in using quite a few of them, especially if you are free to play, you haven't summoned many epics, you're really at the beginning of the game, you will have to pick them up, and you have quite a few different options in there too. Damage wise, I'm trying to always pay attention what stats I'm getting from them. So if I'm getting a lot of stats that are not really relevant for my damage dealer, I'm probably not going to look to get that specific artifact. Like we have one that gives us crit damage and HP as a rare one, if I'm not mistaken. I literally forgot the name right now for the for the
I'm looking.
artifact. And you don't really want to use that one if you are able to use an epic one that gives you just attack. But you will end up in using the rare one too on a different character. Probably you're not going to prioritize it on your main damage dealer, but you're going to put it on the secondary damage dealer. So uh, you gotta try to get as much attack crit damage as possible. Some artifacts will be great on dauntless heroes that they need to use their battle skill, their basic skill, sorry, very often. And that gives you attack speed. Is not going to be as efficient on a Sigrid, for example, where the eyeball of the giant will be like 10 times better than the horseshoe, for example. Some of them will give you derivative damage. So again, it really depends what team you're building. What are your heroes doing? Derivative damage. You're doing raw damage. You need basic attacks, for dauntless. And then you're gonna look. Okay, this is my main team. I have two copies of epics, two of rares. I need to pick these artifacts for my team that I have right now. Not what you're gonna have in 5 months. You need to kind of like take everything in consideration.
Yeah, love it. Perfect, man. And just the final things up there is any final tips and tricks just to finish out anything you might just consider saying, as a final word. Because obviously we've gone over some nice hero tips, we've gone some nice artifact tips, and we've kind of gone over, the general, say, progression of like that first week. So is there anything else you want to add to help everyone else and myself?
Basically, don't don't spread around too thin. Like don't burn your stamina instantly on lower stages. Try to always kind of like be a step ahead of the game. So let's just say, okay, today we unlock Goblin 2, difficulty 2. Well, you know that you're gonna be able to farm that. Don't burst all your stamina, your energy the day before when you know that the next goblin is about to get unlocked, because you're gonna farm higher difficulties, basically get a bigger return for your investment. And at the same time, if you get stuck on a lower stage, you're not on a maximum stage, don't burn all of your stamina on there. Look what you can improve. Maybe you need to go in a dungeon and climb a couple of stages, farm 2, 3, 4, 5 runs to get a couple of epic pieces to make a better set, and then return to the goblin, push to the higher stage. Then you might be stuck on that dungeon. So you need to farm more goblin. You need to farm some domains to rank your characters, and then head over back to that dungeon to climb it a bit higher. And it's basically kind of like adding on top of things to move from a thing to another, basically. So you beat a goblin, then you beat the higher stage of the dungeon. Then you go back to the goblin, you beat the higher stage of the goblin. Then you go back to the dungeons, you beat a higher stage of the dungeons. So always try to kind of like uh, be very calculated with this.
Yeah, that's perfect. Because I think that's one thing I'm not gonna lie, even I fell prone to in the early stages where I was just trying to maybe like get XP. So I was just literally farming as much of the goblin layer without thinking, wait a minute, I've got strong enough heroes here. If I just go to this quick Tempest dungeon and this grave, I'm gonna be able to get some gear, level up the heroes even easier because they're now technically geared and strong enough, right, to kill the next stages. So definitely love that. So thank you for being on the channel, man. And honestly, it's been a pleasure working with you for the first time here. And I can't wait to work with you again, hopefully, in the future. So for everyone, where can they catch you?
Well, thanks for having me, bro, and definitely great sharing with you. Looking forward to do more of this in the future. And yeah, just Scratch Gaming. That's where you're gonna find daily guides on Dragonheir, tips, tricks, pretty much everything that you need to know about the game.
Perfect, man. Thank you for watching, everyone. And with that, you know what to do. Smash a like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next video, stay safe, guys. Stay sneaky, and peace out.